there's two types of e-commerce within those countries, right? So someone in India wanting to buy from someone in India or someone in the US. But the other piece is cross-border e-commerce. And so it took us a while to figure out what that number would be, because the statistics are all over. So we did some interpolation and extrapolation. I'll share that with you. But there's three types of connectivity we sort of looked in this report. One is, you know, where people actually have web access. If you go to many of these developing nations, people have access to the web. Anil Ambani, who owns Reliance, which is one of the big telcos, he estimates in 2 years there will be 300 to 400 million people potentially on the internet in India alone, but primarily they'll leapfrog to smartphones. So you have this huge number of people coming on the internet from that, separate from cell phones, which most people have. But the other part is most of these small businesses, still their interaction is with the Postal Service. So the other emerging piece that we can't forget is social commerce. You know, I have a house in India. The security guard in India, who's a young kid, he actually has 300 Facebook friends, okay? So you have a young kid who comes from a very poor rural village, who works in the city, and he's also developed, you know, Facebook friends. But when you look at this phenomenon of social commerce, it's gone through 3 phases. We went through the era of social relationships, right, where we're just sort of building friends on Twitter, Facebook, et cetera. Then we went to the era of social functionality, then into social colonization and social context and social commerce. And what that looks like is on the top, you see essentially where we're essentially just establishing relationships. Then we started building apps and widgets, which is really social functionality. And then we went to sort of colonizing the web, where we started using IDs and started, you know, understanding who people were. And then we started doing more context-based stuff with websites. And now we're in this area of social commerce. And that business also cannot be underestimated, where people are essentially using Facebook and Twitter essentially to drive business. In fact, Pinterest is one of the best ways to drive business commerce. And it turns out the typical way that people decide to buy someone from trust, it's nearly 80% is because someone else recommends it. So social commerce is going to be a very important vehicle for trusted communications, for trusted vendors, and that actually, or trusted commerce.